What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today we got some major updates that we need to get to. First, we're going to address the stimulus update. We're going to talk about a potential timeline. We're going to also go over the Social Security increase, which is actually substantial. It is bigger than what the projected increase was just a month ago. So I want to address what the cost of living adjustment is already projected to be. We're also going to address restaurants using frozen meals to pretty much make up for their lack of workers. And we're going to talk about a CDC mask mandate that was extended once again. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. So let's get right down to it. And all I ask is if you could and you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, and also consider subscribing. Now let's get right down to it. So the other day, the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she was asked if President Biden is taking responsibility for the high U.S. inflation because of his $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill that he signed back in 2021. Now, Jen Psaki simply said that the alternative would have been a massive economic downward spiral and millions of Americans would not have had enough food to put on the table. So they chose another path. Now, what I think is very interesting right now is that many Democratic lawmakers are seeing this as well. And they are seeing that the American people are putting blame on Democrats for all the increased costs. Because the cost of gas has gone up even before the $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill or the American Rescue Plan was even passed. Food prices, these have increased ever since the pandemic started simply due to supply and demand. And since the pandemic started and really the economy slowed down, prices started to rise, which is hurting a lot of people. But what we are hearing is that passing additional stimulus checks, more unemployment benefits, the child tax credit payments, more business aid through the PPP loan program, these things have all contributed to higher inflation. This is what we're hearing. And this is why Democrats are so worried at this time is the upcoming midterm elections. What we're hearing right now is going to impact the decisions that the American people have. Do they vote Republican? Do they vote Democrat? Do they even vote? That's another option. And a lot of people are considering that really nobody should get a vote. Now, Democrats believe that they need to double down on additional spending. But it must go to the right people to truly be effective. Now, some Democrats have already publicly stated that if a deal is not had within the next 2 months, then the party will fail. It doesn't mean that a deal can't be done later on, but if it's not done in 2 months, the party will fail. Now, according to Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, he says, and I quote, "The fact that we haven't been able to come up with something that we can agree on yet, it's just shocking to me. I think we need to get a deal." And that's what a lot of lawmakers are saying is we have to get a deal done. And even though there's Democrats that say, yeah, we need to get a deal done, moderates are also standing in the way saying, yes, we do need a deal, but the deal can't be as large as many people were predicting or proposing 6 months ago. It can't be that large. It has to be fully funded. We can't go into a deeper deficit. So Democrats are preparing what looks like to be the final shot at passing President Biden's Build Back Better Act or economic agenda. So we'll see if this happens. But again, as we know more, I promise I'll fill you in on all latest news and updates. But let's talk about Social Security for a moment. I'm sure you know this by now, but Social Security and the cost of living adjustment is set based off of inflation from the previous year. Now they have specific numbers, okay? And I'm not going to get into all the details, but that's just a quick little, rundown of kind of, what to expect. Now, did you know that the Senior Citizens League said last month that the Social Security cost of living adjustment could be as high as 7.6% for 2023? Now, that's not all. In the new preliminary analysis that was actually released on Tuesday, the Senior Citizens League has actually revised up their estimates. It now sits at 8.9% for a cost of living adjustment. This is huge. And I say this is huge because in 2021, we saw a little bit of inflation. Okay, not much, saw a little bit. But the cost of living adjustment was 1.3% in 2021. This amounted to about a $20 per month increase to Social Security benefits. Then in 2022, which we are currently in, and we are currently receiving these benefits, the cost of living adjustment was 5.9%, which came out to about a $92 per month increase. And now, according to the Senior Citizens League, we're on pace to see a huge increase of 8.9% for 2023. And keep in mind that we still have pretty much 6 months to go, because the cost of living adjustment is set in October. So until we get to October, until we get to that date, that's when all the data that we're collecting now, that's when that's going to go kind of into consideration for what is the cost of living adjustment going to be. But the prediction right now, the projection, is 8.9%. If we continue to see inflation stay where it's at, it'll be 8.9%, if not a little bit higher. So again, it's going to be a big increase. Now, I bring up this Social Security cost of living adjustment increase because many people don't realize what this does to seniors. Now, the first thing you need to keep in mind is that when you get more income, your other benefits are reduced. And we see this all the time. And that's the way Social Security is, the program is that, okay, we'll give you these benefits, and this is as much income and benefits that you can get. But if you start to get a higher income, we're going to take away some of those benefits. So essentially, you're going to be right back where you were. But some benefits versus income versus benefits. Again, that's the way the program works. But the next thing that you need to keep in mind is that Social Security will never cover all your expenses. That's not the way it was created. And so you must use your own savings and investments to help supplement your Social Security income. And lastly, Social Security's cost of living adjustment, as this goes up, this means that inflation is going to go up as well, meaning your buying power is greatly reduced. So that's not the greatest news, but that is what we do know. Now, let's address another major issue, okay? And this is that restaurants, again, there's a lot of issues right now, but one is that restaurants are having staffing issues. But what are they actually doing about it? Well, one of the ways that businesses were trying to lure employees back after the height of the pandemic was through a raise. Just give people a raise or more benefits. Well, businesses have said that recent raises have actually caused their profits to go down, and additional raises are not on the table. It's not possible at this point. So, many restaurants are actually admitting to using frozen menu items as a way to get past staffing shortages, supply chain issues, and increase their profits. Now, a lot of restaurants, they like to make their own menu items, but due to recent events, it's just not possible or feasible. Now, items like appetizers are more commonly frozen now than handmade. Orders for frozen pre-made soups and soup bases have surged by 54%. Orders for frozen desserts have gone up by 32%. And according to Buyer's Edge, they have said that even bar mixes are up 32% as well. That's crazy. That is crazy that more and more restaurants are using frozen pre-made items. Again, and I know you might not like the fact that you're going into a restaurant thinking you're getting, just cooked meal, right? It's just made, all the best ingredients, but the truth is that you're getting a frozen meal. And the truth is that this isn't new. This isn't something that should be completely shocking to the American people, because this is something that companies have been doing for quite some time. The only difference now is there are more and more items on the menu that have been frozen at some point. And again, like I talked about soup bases, it's the base of a soup. You throw in other ingredients and you make the actual soup. And most people would never know. They never know that, oh, okay, it's fresh chicken, but it's a frozen soup base, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it. But again, in most cases, you will never know. And lastly, let's talk about what the CDC just did. The CDC actually extended the mask mandate for planes and trains until May 3rd. Now, this was expected. It was expected that the mask mandate was going to still be in effect due to the Biden administration extending the public health emergency for an additional 90 days. And they did that just yesterday. Now, many of the nation's largest airlines have actually been pushing back on this mask mandate, and a lot of people think this is because people do not want to fly if they have to wear a mask. Now, the interesting thing is, this really doesn't take into account people not wanting to fly because, well, in many cases, you have to get to certain destinations. But the fact that flyers are finding ways to not wear their masks, and when the flight attendant is having to deal with this and enforce the mask mandate, that's becoming a problem. That's why many flight attendants don't actually want to go into work. Okay? And so what we are seeing right now, flights are being delayed or canceled because there's either not enough flight attendants, there's no pilot, right? There's not enough maintenance workers to work on the planes. Again, a lot of issues. But health officials are saying that they believe once the CDC mask mandate for planes and trains is actually gone, this is when we will finally be getting back to our normal lives. But until then, we are still in this pandemic, okay? This state of COVID. So that's what we know as of right now. Again, a lot of shocking news coming out lately, but again, I will bring you all the latest news and updates as soon as we get them. So just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.